Welcome to episode 149 of the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business. I'm Brian Fisher. Get ready for the most actionable 15 minutes in business podcasting. This podcast series focuses on the various subjects and topics to help you run a successful, profitable business. And it's targeted to business owners and C-suite executives. But anyone interested in business can benefit. It reflects my 34 years as a business owner and subsequent years as a business mentor and consultant. They're approximately 15 minutes long, so you can listen while commuting. In the previous episode, 148, our guest was Sheena White, discussing cash flow and financial clarity. Today's episode discusses simplify your business and scale with confidence with Jason Rosado. Based out of Oak Park, Illinois, Jason Rosado is the founder of Distinctive Coaching for Business Success, a company that helps businesses significantly scale without adding hours or stress. Today's episode is packed with real-world insights and practical strategies in finding clarity. Let's welcome Jason Rosado. Jason, welcome to the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
Thank you, Brian. Great to be here.
Thanks for joining us today. Jason, I'm always interested in people's stories. What's your background in becoming the founder of Distinctive Coaching for Business Success, a company that helps businesses significantly scale without adding hours or stress?
It's a long story because it's really a lifelong story, but I'll try to give you the condensed version. So my last corporate job, I was training manager at the company I was at, and I was in charge of training and development from entry level through director level. When that job ended, I was out of work. I was looking for a job, and I thought, I've had decades, well, let me see, at that point, maybe not quite decades yet, but definitely several years of management, whether that was in the corporate world, in different leadership roles, in small business. I had a restaurant at one point, working in somebody else's restaurant. So I had all of this leadership, development, business organization, team and department management, and even creation. I had hired hundreds of people up to that point, developed people, help them get to where they want to go with their career. So as I was job searching, looking for my next role, I thought, I coach my employees. So I just put in coaching as a search term, along with manager, supervisor, executive. And I came across this video called What is Professional Coaching? And I don't know if you remember back in the day, it might still be around. There's this company called Learning Annex. And what they do is, or what they did, I don't know, again, if they're still around, but they would go into a local, they were in New York, they would go into a local university, grab a room, and then bring an expert and film that expert talking for half an hour, basically teaching a class on kind of any subject that you might be interested in. And so this one, they hired a master certified coach to give this class to people who are curious about coaching and what it is and how it works. And so I came across this video called What is Professional Coaching? It was $20. Even though I was out of work and $20 felt like a lot, I thought, this sounds really interesting. I think I ought to take a look. So I bought it. I watched it. As I was watching it, I realized that this idea of coaching, of having a coaching business and helping people, getting paid for it, dipping into my expertise, my background, it was an idea that I had had a few years before, when I was sitting there at work one day thinking, I really miss working for myself. I really miss having that independence and being in charge of my own destiny instead of being in the corporate world cubicle. Even though I was leading a team and enjoying it, I still missed working for myself at the restaurant. But I know I didn't want to go back into the restaurant world. So I had this idea this one day of, wow, I've helped all these people in all these different areas, help people move into leadership, move into better careers, get jobs, hired so many people. My wife and I met through an online dating site, early on before it was cool. And all of these experiences I realized are transferable. So I thought it'd be really fun to work for myself, have people hire me directly, and I'd help them in whatever area of probably career or life that they would need help in. but I had no idea what that was called or how to do it. So it was just a fleeting thought. So then, as I was job searching, this is 20 years ago now in 2006, I came across this, what is coaching, watched it. And I was like, oh, wow, that's it. That's an idea that was in my head. So that got me spurred on the path, and then I went through a coach training program, made sure I was doing it the right way, and then set up business. And here we are.
That's a great story. This episode's topic is simplify your business and scale with confidence. How do you help overwhelmed business owners unlock hidden potential?
So the reason most business owners are overwhelmed is that they just have too much on their plate. They're trying to do so many different things. They have to work with clients. They have to grab client calls when those come in. They have to answer employee questions all day long, every day. And they oftentimes are also the top producer. It depends on what they're doing. If, for instance, they are a managing broker of a real estate agent, or they own an insurance agency, or I've had either other executive coaches and consultants like that as clients. They're the main, deliverer of the services. So they oftentimes have basically three full-time jobs. They're the owner, they're the general manager, and they're the top producer or the main deliverer, subject matter expert. And that's just too much for one person, especially if they have a small team, they want to scale, and they're finding they don't have enough time to figure out, how do I do that? Because they're so busy running the business, keeping it going, keeping cash flow coming in so they can, make payroll. And it becomes very overwhelming, very daunting. And they just find themselves stuck in this cycle of they're not able to grow, but they have all these responsibilities. So I help them to break that cycle. And we say, okay, well, where are you now? Where would you love the business to be a year from now? What's the vision? What are you in charge of? What are other people in charge of? And we put everybody in the right place to make sure that they can leverage people so not everything is on their plate.
Well, following up on that, Jason, how do you shift from chaos to clarity in your business operations?
Yeah, so the chaos to clarity it is that chaos. I guess it's really systematic chaos because you're going to have to answer all these questions and all these people coming to you for help all the time, but it still feels like chaos. And what we do is, again, by building out that vision of, what's your revenue model? What are the specific offerings that you have? What's the packaging, the price points? What does your life look like inside of your business? Bringing that clarity, vision, helping people get in touch with that because they often don't take time to just sit down. So, I mean, this is something I recommend to our listeners is just take 15 minutes. I know sometimes 15 minutes is even hard to grab in a day, but set it aside. Set it aside as dedicated time where you're not going to get interrupted and write out, if you had the perfect business a year from now, what would that look like? And help to get clear, because the more clear you can make your vision, you start pre-programming your mind to create that vision. So chaos to clarity, I'm sorry, yeah, chaos to clarity, that's exactly what we're doing is we're helping to create the vision. And then when you go steps past that, you figure out what the roadblocks are on the way, whether it's what is my strategy and my action steps to get there, what skills do I need to upgrade, what better systems do I have to have in my business so I'm not doing everything myself all the time.
We're speaking with Jason Rosado, the founder of Distinctive Coaching for Business Success. Jason has spent his career on both sides of the table, as an employee, observing leaders, and later, as a coach, working with business owners and executives. One thing has remained constant throughout his experience. Employee motivation and performance almost always came back to how clearly leaders communicated. The most effective leaders didn't simply give direction. They asked thoughtful questions. They create environments where feedback is empowering rather than critical. That blend of communication and direction became the foundation of Jason's approach to leadership, team development, and business growth. Jason's clients often tell him, "I never thought about it that way before." Those moments of clarity that change everything. Now let's get back to the questions. Jason, teams are so important. How do you help transform team dynamics through emotional intelligence?
So team dynamics are very important. Let me give you an example. One of my clients who is a managing broker of her real estate firm, like I mentioned before, that scenario where the business owner is the owner, the general manager, and the top producer, she found herself in that same place. She was working a ton of hours. Business was hanging on by a thread. And on top of it, she had a team of realtors who saw each other as competitors. So they didn't play nice together in the sandbox, so to speak. And it made life very difficult for her. So what we did was we helped to create a team culture and changed it around from seeing each other as competitors to seeing each other as collaborators. And that comes down to instilling the idea of when you work together, the team is greater than the sum of its parts. So you're not only going to take care of the business that you are, but by helping each other, you're going to be able to cover more bases. You're going to be able to leverage your time. If you need somebody to go to a showing, let's say like an open house showing, and you're busy or you want to spend time with your family that day, you can call your teammate and say, you know what? I've got this thing, but I can't go. Can you cover this for me? And they're happy to do it now because you're working together and because you're going to cover them when they need it. And maybe you'll even end up splitting commissions on deals. So there's more deals to get done, You'll be able to give referrals to each other. Maybe there's an area that you're not ideally suited for that your teammate is, and you can either refer or bring them in and work together. So it creates all of this opportunity for growth for the individuals and for the teams themselves. So anyway, your initial question, that's how, yeah, you want to create a culture where people feel supported and they are supporting. When people are contributing to each other and contributing to a cause, it really helps them feel like they're growing and they're being a part of something, and it goes beyond just their monetary pay. So it really helps them to feel, ownership, feel a part, and want to stay somewhere and help grow it.
We're speaking with Jason Rosado, the founder of Distinctive Coaching for Business Success. Jason, is there anything I've not asked that you'd like to add?
No, this was really great. I think the one thing, is it okay if I give our listeners a little gift?
Sure.
Yeah, great. So I know, like I said before, that oftentimes it's hard to carve out those few minutes to get really clear on what it is that you want to achieve, what you want your business to look like, and then to go a step further, come up with what the challenges are and create an actual action plan to get there. So as a gift, I would like to give that opportunity to sit down with me one-on-one and do that to the listeners. And what I'd say is to go to my website. It's distinctivecoaching.com. Click on the button that says book a call. And what this will do is it'll set up a 30-minute conversation. And during that conversation, what we'll do is take a look at where your business is and see if giving you a complimentary business breakthrough coaching session would be of value to you. And if it is, then we'll go ahead and schedule that. And so the gift is that normally I charge $500 for that session, for that full session. But when you book your call today, if you put in the how did you hear about us, put in Brian Podcast, I'll waive the $500 fee just as a way to help people out because, I've worked with hundreds of people over the last 20 years and I want to grow that and I want to keep helping people. And I know that sometimes people need a little nudge for that to happen. I know I do from time to time. So I want to make that possible, Brian.
Well, that's a great offer. Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
Jason, thank you for joining us today on the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
My sincere thanks to Jason Rosado for joining us today. Managing the performance and future direction of your company are two of the most important things you do as a leader. And I'm here to help you. If you'd like to reach out to me for business mentoring or consulting, help you with a podcast, schedule a speaking engagement, or potentially be a guest like Jason, please go to bcforg.com. There's a red Contact Us button in the middle of the homepage. These podcasts will be released the first and third Tuesday each month. This podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. In search, type BCF ORG. Be sure to leave a space between BCF and ORG. And I'm looking for this podcast to move from an upper mid-tier podcast to a top-tier podcast. Please leave a positive review. Let your friends and colleagues know about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow the podcast. Join us for our next episode, 150, where I'll be reviewing the highlights of episodes 101 through 149. In business, running a successful, profitable business is the ultimate scorecard. You are never done and can always be better. It tends to be more fun than work, frustrating at times, but can be very rewarding. From BCF ORG Corp., I'm Brian Fisher, wishing you the best.